In today's video, I'm going to talk all about lighting, what lamps I use, and how to approach lighting a set. So like many things in the film industry, there are different types of lights, different types of lenses, different types of cameras, different types of everything. And how do you approach and choose which light is right for what, and how do you modify lights? And that's what we're going to talk about today, because I have a selection of many different types of lights, and I'm going to put them all into effect here. Now, my two favorite, and what is going to be my main lights, I have a Nanlite Forze 300 and a Nanlite 60B that's going to primarily do most of my lighting. Then everything else is going to be some filler. So I'm going to take you around the studio and show you kind of what it looks like without lights, and then pop some lights on, and we will shoot a little scene with the Blackmagic Cinema Camera 2.5K and a Canon 50mm 1.4 lens. So one of the first things I look for when shooting a new set or location is where are the windows at. Not only for shooting in front of the windows or using sunlight as my source, but to motivate the light. Where's the light coming from? Can I put a light outside there to help motivate and drive light into my set? In this case, I really cannot, because I'm on the second floor. So I'm going to have to use the sun the best way I can. But if I'm able to, and I have the money, time, resources, and equipment to do so, I'm going to put a light outside to help motivate and drive the sunlight into where I want it to be. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to use this flattish light right now because it's late in the day, and I'm going to motivate everything else around it. So lighting can take a lot of materials, a lot of shaping and stuff just to get it kind of look right and more natural. Something like all this, which I will show you in a second what all this is. But this is mostly what you're going to see on any TV series or major motion picture. This is relatively how they're going to approach lighting, without some of the high dollar items that they are able to rent because they have money to do so. So I'll take you through all those materials just in a second. So even if I'm able to put a light outside to motivate the sunlight, I'm more likely going to use that as background light. I'm not going to use that to actually light my subject. So I'm going to add other lights in here to actually light my subject. This is the motivation. This is the motivation of where the light's coming from. This is the actual artificial key light to show the light on my face and to actually light your subject properly. So I'm going to approach this like every lighting setup. And you may have heard this before, your 3-light setup. Now your 3-light setup is your key light, your fill light, and your backlight. And we're going to add a fourth instance, our background light. A background light is going to help create depth and help motivate the scene a little bit more. Here's our key light in its glorious setup, surrounded by flags, toppers, bottomers, siders, everything I need just to cut the light from the background and the bottom, and from bouncing off the floor and bouncing off the walls. Anywhere I don't want any extra light, that's what all the black is doing. And then just a standard light white bed sheet. This one's kind of silky, and that's going to give us enough of a diffusion to throw our light directly through. Since these Forze 300s are very bright, and if you even need something brighter, you can pull out a Forze 500, and I'm going to put it here and spread it out as much as I can through the whole diffusion. With this light, even the Forza 300, I am only at 50%. Now you might ask me, why are you not going through a soft box? They have soft boxes and octagons and lanterns and all things like that. Why aren't you doing that? Because I want a much bigger source. I want as big as you can get. Now they make something fairly large, which I have is a 120 parabolic softbox, which is pretty large, but I tend to like larger sources, 8 by, this is roughly an 8 by, 6 by, 8 by, 12 by, that's what I like to use. That's what I've always used in the film industry, on TV series, things like that. That's the way I tend to light, not with a bunch of soft boxes. This is our backlight. Now I like very hard backlights, hard edges, hard full backlights. Something similar to what you will see at a Bob Richardson in every Quentin Tarantino movie or Scorsese film like Casino. We will be using the Nanlite 60B with a projector beam to achieve this. What is this weird thing? This weird thing is adding ambience. It's adding ambience to my background. So with a switch of a few lights off, and we're going to look over here. That's off. That's on. Double on. 2 switches. This allows me to pick how much light I really want as an ambience back there. Ambiance. It's helping motivate the light from outside to the background. This is kind of a background light, but it's an ambiance light. It's just adding a little bit. It's not actually lighting anything. It's just filling up extra light within the room. Ambiance. And last is our background. So we're not lighting up the background per se. The sun's going to do that, or a light from outside is actually going to do that. It's just adding a little extra feature. This could be a lamp, a practical, as we call it, practical light. That could be a chandelier, lighting up a dining room table, a sconce, a light on the wall, a lamp, a bedside lamp, any table lamp, anything like that, we're going to call practical lighting. Now, I don't really have a great lamp here, so we're going to mimic a practical in the background, because practical lighting, you're going to see that in the shot. So we're going to use this as a practical. This is just stupid. Christmas lighting. That's just something for bokeh. We're going to just throw that back here, make it more interesting, and then we'll see kind of the bokeh of the 50mm Canon 1.4 lens. And then the tree is just added set decoration. So we're going to shoot this very tight. We're not going to shoot anything wide. We don't want to shoot wide shots, no wide strokes. We want to get tight. Mids, close-ups. And the last piece of the puzzle is going to be my beat board, my 2x4 bounce board that I made myself. The great thing about a beat board is we can actually control how much light is hitting our subject. Is it a bright comedy look, or are we going for a much darker horror kind of look? And for fun, we can take this image and add a LUT onto it and make it a much darker, contrasty, kind of like a horror film look to it, without any noise or grain in the background. If you choose your location wisely, you can get great sunlight that comes through the window and makes a nice pattern. But remember, this is all relevant to the time of day that you have to shoot in. This is a late day shot where the sun is just going down. So we're only going to have a few hours before the light starts moving up the wall and changing the pattern. So we have to shoot this very quickly during the right time of day. Or we can use artificial lighting like an Arri 4K HMI to achieve the same look. So I hope you liked our lighting tutorial. If you did, hit that like, subscribe, and if you didn't, hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. And always remember to keep shooting.